Well, welcome back to Caregivers Wear Plaid. I'm Sean Lothar, and this program is brought to you by the Lothar Legacy Library and my company, Stealth Awareness and Hidden Knowledge. As a caregiver to your significant other or wife, often requires two incomes to make ends meet. If your wife's job has come to the point that she requires accommodations in the workplace, I hope that her employer is sympathetic to her needs. But at some point, and we hope not, the job will become too much for her to keep working. Applying for disability will be the next step, and this scenario can be very difficult on a family, financially affecting not only you, but your children and your relationship, and your wife's health, as stress is a major contributor to your wife's disease. The last thing your wife wants is not to contribute to the family income, but reality sets in, and the next alternative is her going on disability. This can be a lengthy process, up to 2 years for sure, for some, and there is no reason for this to happen if you are prepared in advance for such circumstances. As the caregiver, this is an area you can help out. Well, today's program is how to speed up the application process. Our panel of speakers was previously taped at a lupus workshop. A panel of lupus survivors, including my Patty, shared their experiences in applying for disability insurance. Whether your wife has lupus or another autoimmune disease, the following conversation can really be helpful. So let's join them as they introduce themselves to the group.
My name is Patty Dunn, and I have had lupus for 43 years, which means I am now 72 years old. So I consider myself a survivor. I was diagnosed way back when I was 28, by biopsy. I was one of those people that had discoid lupus initially, and back in those days, they didn't even know what really SLE was. So they never even told me I might get this, but it did evolve over the course of the years. And it took many, many years to get a definitive SLE diagnosis, but we got that, and we've dealt with one thing after the other as time goes on, and I'm surviving.
I have been living with lupus for 21 years. Every day is it's kind of like a box of chocolates, right into one. You don't know what you're going to get. I enjoy good moments, not necessarily days, but good moments. This is a good moment. I got makeup on today and showered. I'm here. It worked well. I've been through a number of different treatments, but currently I'm on CellCept and IVIG, infusions of antibodies on a monthly basis, about 25 pills a day. I've never been in remission, but I'm hopeful, and definitely hoping that through experience and research that, others are going to have a bright future. But maybe hope to share some tips or things that we've kind of learned maybe in dealing with lupus.
I'm Steve Helms. I live in Marshall, North Carolina. I was diagnosed with lupus in 2008. Of course, it took about 4 or 5 years before to get the diagnosis. That was a real tough period of time, but we got through it. When I was diagnosed in 2008, first thing I did when I got to the house, I went online and found the Lupus Foundation of America, which in turn put me in touch with Christine John with his local chapter. And we did a car raffle. We had a classic car we had restored, and we just did a car raffle and donated some money to lupus and helped with some drug studies or wherever it needed to go. But, I'm having a good day, like she is today, and it's just a moment by moment thing.
There are 3 things: perseverance, perseverance, perseverance. When you first apply, there's an automatic stamp, reject. They'll send you the stuff to reapply, just reapply, and you're probably going to get the second reject. The third time, they give you an opportunity to go in front of an administrative law judge, which is the first person you will encounter that can actually has the power to make a decision in your favor that you actually can eyeball. All these other people are faceless folks that are just there with their stamp that you have really no impact on. But if you really believe that that's where you need to be and need to do that, keep on keeping on.
Why is it so difficult?
Because there's so many applicants, and now it's lupus is more recognized as a disability. When I went through it, which was back in 1983, they didn't know what lupus was. There was tremendous ignorance about it, but now they're becoming a little bit more educated. So I think the process may be a little bit better, but it's bogged down by the number of people that are applying.
So are you recommending getting representation?
You certainly could do that. There are attorneys that will accept your case on contingency. In other words, you don't pay any upfront money. They will take a percentage of whatever award that you get from Social Security. And you should be aware that the money that you're awarded is actually from first day recovery. In other words, if you apply on June 1st, 2015, and you don't get accepted until June 1st, 2017, your benefits are retroactive.
Right.
Okay, so you get a lump sum settlement. Of that lump sum, that attorney will take a percentage, which is a pretty nominal thing when you stop and consider what he or she may have done for you.
I applied two times, got denied both. Right away, went to see an attorney, and it took him about 4 to 5 months. We finally got awarded. I sat in a courtroom for about 2 minutes, and he said awarded, and I was like, gone. So
I think
I went to a judge. I had to go before a disability judge with my attorney. My attorney asked me a few questions. I answered them. The judge awarded me my disability and walked home.
How long was your process though?
Oh, it was, I think we went, 2 years?
my experience was different. I do think because I was approved by my disability company the first time and by Social Security the first time. But I think the reason that helped my case was because I did not doctor hop. I had the same rheumatologist for 20 years and the same primary care physician for 25 years, and gastro doctors, the same doctors I've been treating me before I was sick and then during the process. So when I applied for disability, I had a track record of medical records to support my disability. I think that made a big difference. Now, Social Security still sent me to 2 different doctors to be examined, a psychologist to see if my depression was something else. So that is normal, and it does take a long time. But when the Social Security did get approved, then I got a letter that said, we'll review your case in 2 to 3 years. In six months from now, you're going to automatically be signed up for Medicare, and then it's like all of a sudden the doors just opened. But I do think that that's important, but also remember that what you tell a doctor is going to go in your medical records. So if you're telling your doctor, oh, I'm feeling pretty good, I was able to go on a trip, blah, 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 it's going to be in your medical records. So you have to tell your doctors ahead of time, I'm filing a disability claim. You know, it's really important that what I tell you about my symptoms be also noted in my records, because that's what insurance company and Social Security is going to review. They're not going to talk to your doctor. They're not going to talk to you until it gets way down the line if you need it. the other thing that helped was I had prescription medical records for probably 20 years, but there were only 3 pharmacies. So I literally had records showing all the drugs I took for years and years in my possession. It's also important for you to know that it is your responsibility, not your doctor's necessarily. It is your case, so you need to make sure that the medical records that are requested are actually sent in, because I was also told that, well, we've requested the records, but we haven't received them yet. I was like, then I will send them to you because I have them. So just remember that even though Social Security or an insurance company is requesting the records, if the doctor's office drops the ball, it's going to cost you time. So you need to be your advocate or your spouse or someone that's going to do this for you, because it's all about the medical records that's really going to make your case. And I think if I hadn't had such documentation for my case, it would not have happened that way. But the records also showed my progressive decline, so that, you know, it was one of those things like, oh wow, now she's having to take this, now she's missing work, now, you know, this is what's happening. So I do think, you know, those things were something that may help you if you're starting that process. But also, if it fails, do not hesitate to go to an attorney.
Another thing, I had my job, I was a refrigeration mechanic, and I actually had to sign a paper stating what my job requirements were. I had that paper. I took it to my doctor, and she knew what my regular medical doctor knew what I could and I could not do. And she wrote a letter, and right down the line told what I could and couldn't do on my job, which was everything, and that helped a lot. That got me my short-term disability from the company at that time.
In the audience was a young lady who happened to be an insurance underwriter dealing with disability claims. And here's what she had to say.
But my background is in underwriting for insurance and health and stuff like that. So from my perspective, people who will be sitting here too, what happens is we have cases that will last 2 weeks because someone sent in their records and their application and the whole thing. Up front, we take care of it. As opposed to if we have to ask and go back, and like she said, doctors do take forever to get us records. It's just how it works. And they don't mean to, they're phenomenal doctors. It's just we always feel, from our perspective, we have to hound you to get records. If that happens, that can add anywhere from 6 to 8 months that we can do in 2 weeks. You usually have one underwriter who's going to look at your case, and if they can get everything that they need to know, like she said, if you can give them a storyline in your records, it's instant. The decision is.
Wow, great.
Well, all points shared by our panel are outlined in our book, Caregivers Wear Plaid, Chapter 22, entitled, What If Your Wife Can No Longer Work? In the chapter, we also talk about accommodations in the workplace and how your wife or significant other can address those issues. Well, thanks for joining us. If this video was helpful, please give us a like below and subscribe to our channel so that you can be notified when additional videos are posted. Links to our book, Caregivers Wear Plaid, and the Lothar Legacy Library are listed below. So check us out. And finally, if you or your wife knows of someone else who has lupus, let them know about our videos and book and how they can get a copy too. We count on you to spread the word and keep our mission to inform caregivers and others moving forward. And remember, amor Vincent omnia. Thanks for being here.